Welcome to the Healthy Image Podcast, where we talk all things health and wellness. Today's guest is Dr. Olman Mata, founder and clinic director of Covina Chiropractic, established in 1992. With over 30 years of practice, Dr. Mata, along with his team, continues to provide hands-on chiropractic care serving the San Gabriel Valley community and beyond. In addition to his clinical work, Dr. Mata is an accredited instructor for the California State Board of Chiropractic Examiners, contributing to the education and standards of the profession. For over 15 years, Dr. Mata was widely recognized as the chiropractor to the stars. Through his company, On Production Chiropractic, he provided care to the cast and crew working in television and motion picture productions. Welcome, Dr. Mata.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, that's
Thank
really
you.
exciting. I didn't know. Chiropractor to the stars. That's kind of fun. Huh?
Yeah,
That's
that was
awesome.
fun.
Probably a good time, a good period in your life where...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stories beyond.
I hope we hear
That's
some of
awesome.
them later.
Absolutely.
So what originally inspired you to become a chiropractor?
So we'd have to go back when I was in high school. I was in a pretty bad surfing accident one day. I think it was my middle or the middle or end of my senior year in high school. And I went surfing like I used to do when I was a kid with my buddies. And it was in Huntington Beach. I grew up around here, so that's where I went. And just one day, the one time I was out there and a wave got me, a huge wave, one of these waves that after a storm type of wave. And I was just slammed on the bottom of the sand and the sea floor there. And I hit my low back, and I was in excruciating pain. And I felt my arms tingle. I mean, my legs tingle and my toes were tingling. It was just weird sensation and extreme pain at the same time. So my buddies pulled me out of the water. They threw me in the car. We're making our way to the hospital, and we get rear-ended. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
So
Wow.
double the whammy in the accident. And so we make it to the hospital. They take x-rays. They see what's going on, MRIs, and it shows that I fractured my sacrum L5, S1, right? It was like a sacralization, and there was pressure on my spine and the nerve roots that led to my legs. And for the longest time, I couldn't walk very well. I had to walk using crutches and wheelchairs, and I did that for, it seemed like 2 months. It seemed like a long time. And the doctor said, well, just let's do some physical therapy. Let's wait and see if things get better. And if you just got to rest and just don't do much, and hopefully things will heal. And it's hard to say that to like a 17 or 18-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to get out and go to prom and do these things and graduate. And I was not feeling that. I didn't want to just sit there and wait. And so it happened to be that a week before that accident, I was in my counselor's office, a guidance counselor. When you have at high school, they have these guidance counselors.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there preparing to talk to him about my admissions to college, because I went to Whittier College. I was preparing for Whittier College, and I was ready to have this conversation. And as I'm waiting for the counselor for my appointment, I look at this bookshelf and just a bunch of books and folders, and I saw something that said chiropractic on it. And I don't know why, but I just grabbed it and I opened it up, and it was an old brochure along with papers and just information about the Los Angeles College of Chiropractic and what chiropractors did and how they specialize in the spine, and they use adjustments to restore mobility of the spine. And I just thought that was fascinating. I was reading it all because I actually had to wait for a while. And I looked at the whole thing and I just put it away. And then I remembered when I was recovering from my accident, I said, you know what, I got to do something. I got to figure this out because this is hurting, and I don't like limping around. And so I said, I'm going to look for one of these chiropractor guys, right? So back in the day, I opened up the yellow pages.
Oh, yes.
And just went, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
And I just went under chiropractor under the seas and just put my finger on this office, and his name was Dr. Cook, and I went to visit him in Covina, by the way. And in 2 visits, I was pain-free and completely walking.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, my.
that was it. And so at that moment, it was like an epiphany. I said, wow, this guy, that's what I said to myself, this guy was able to make me well, to help me with just 2 adjustments. And this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going into healthcare when I was in high school. Because I was actually thinking about being a radiologist and going into nuclear medicine. That's what I was thinking about doing, because when I was a little boy, I remember walking into an imaging place and I saw all the x-rays up on the view boxes. And as a little kid, that seems like the most amazing thing. Like in an imaging center is where all the magic happens. This is where all the answers are found because of the x-rays and what you see in the x-rays. And I just loved all the tech and all the idea of having x-rays and looking inside people and looking at the bones and all the structures. So early on, I think this is where I want to go. I want to go in the direction of imaging, right? And as soon as this happened to me, and Dr. Cook adjusted me, and after that, I'm like, okay, no, this is it. And it was an epiphany. It was literally, this is it. I know what I'm going to do. And when you have an epiphany, a moment like this where there's clarity, where nothing else matters, because this is where, by the way, this is an important time in my life where most kids don't know what they want to do at that age. Mm-hmm. They're just maybe go to college, maybe not, maybe start to work. So at this point, it was really important that I figured that out, because there's a lot of pressure on you too.
Yeah,
at that age
and that's like, if you think about it, you're still so young. It's like you're 18 and you have to figure out what you want to do the rest of your life.
Exactly, and I did.
Yeah,
and I found out, and I wasted no time. I wrote to the college. I said, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be a chiropractor. Get ready for me.
Yeah.
So I went to Whittier College, and I finished my undergraduate work. I got my degree in biology, and then I went to interview for a Los Angeles College of Chiropractic. By the way, I was so into becoming a chiropractor that I didn't take any breaks. No spring breaks, no summer breaks, no winter breaks. Wow. I just went all the way through and finished all my prerequisites as fast as I could. And then so I went to interview at the college, and yeah, they accepted me. Wow. I was one of the youngest students to graduate. I think there was 2 students, and I graduated when I was around 24, something like that. Again, I figured out what I wanted to do soon in life, and I didn't waste any time, and I went right into it. So that was the genesis of why I became a chiropractor. You know, it's funny, because the moment you think your life is ending because you broke your back and you can't feel your legs and you can't move and you can't walk, and you think life is going to be horrible now for the rest of your life, and then all of a sudden that becomes the blessing. That's what sets you up for the rest of your life. Right. And so that's the
you look back
story.
And think, well, that's why that happened.
Yeah.
In the moment, it feels like,
the life is over. Mm-hmm. It's over, right? And so, yeah, it's and you know, when that happened to me, I remember going to chiropractic college, and I'm like, I was hoping everybody would have an awesome story like this, and they didn't.
They're like, my mom made me.
Oh my gosh,
something like that.
But it's wonderful that you found purpose and you found meaning behind what happened to you.
Yeah. Was there something that you learned early on in your career that you still use to this day?
Yes, I remember early on in my career where I didn't know much of anything, and I remember having this patient come in, and her name was Mary. And Mary I think she was in her mid-70s. She was an older lady. And she said, Dr. Mata, I've been to 4 doctors already and 2 physical therapists, and my neck is killing me, and they just say they can't do anything for me. And I'm just hoping you can do something for me, because I don't know what to do now. And she's been turned away everywhere. And then I said, okay, Mary. So I examined her, and I took x-rays. And back in those days, you take film x-rays and put them up on the view box, and I'm looking at them. And yeah, her neck was bad. It was severely degenerated. You know, it almost looks like a bamboo shape to it. The degeneration was like a melted candle, right? And I'm like, yikes. Yes, I can see why everybody said, we're not touching you. And so I said, what am I going to do here? Am I going to go back in the room and say, yeah, nothing we can do? Am I going to be that 4th health practitioner to say the same thing to her? And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different. And I walked in there, I said, Mary, I see what's going on with you, and I'm pretty sure I can help you. And she just smiled. And so I laid my hands on her back and her neck, and I talked to her, and then I started stretching her, and I laid her down, and I started doing soft tissue work, and I listened to her. I listened for 20 minutes, and I stretched her, and I didn't adjust her because I couldn't. And I just listened to her talk about her husband, how he passed away, and how he was a war hero, and she talked to me about her children. And about 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, I said, okay, you're done, and stretched her out, and she went home. And later that day, my office manager says, Mary's daughter's on the phone. She wants to speak with you.
You're like, uh-oh.
I said, oh, that's exactly what I said. I said, uh-oh. So I said, okay, great. I take the call. So she said, hi, Dr. Mata. I'm Mary's daughter. She said, I don't know what you did, but Mary can't stop talking about you. She feels great.
Oh, wow.
She's moving. She wants to go out to dinner. She never wants to usually leave the house. So she's excited. She's not in pain. I can tell because she turns her neck when she talks to us. And so I just wanted to thank you. I don't know what you did, but I wanted to thank you for what you did. And so, and from that moment on, I had her as a patient from the day she passed, right? And I learned that you have to always have compassion for people, number one, and make sure you don't take hope away from them. Just give them some type of hope, because there's always something you can do, right?
Yeah.
So in her case, I get emotional because I think about her and I see her. Mm-hmm. And I gave her hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I really didn't do much for her.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't necessarily heal her,
Right.
but you gave her some relief. You helped her a
Right.
little bit.
But
And to
with-
her, that was massive.
And you
Absolutely.
listened to her.
Absolutely. And what
Yes.
is the best medicine than to just put your hands on somebody and listen to them and be kind and grateful and kind and courteous to them? I think just the touch and the fact that you care, I think that's the best medicine.
100%.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think that the role of a chiropractor has changed from when you started?
As far as chiropractic, I don't feel like the role has changed. Chiropractic's always been chiropractic to me. It's just the level of how much I've learned and experienced, right? Because when you get out of school, you don't know much about anything. Whether you're a lawyer, doctor, dentist, you got to practice for
Right.
many years. That's
Yes.
where the learning actually happens. So the role, I don't feel it's changed. But what has changed over the years, I believe, is the technology that's around now that makes what I do way more efficient, right? But because things used to take a lot more time, and because of those resources, you couldn't take enough time for the patient. So nowadays we have digital x-rays where literally the x-ray is seen in seconds. Before, people don't understand, but before you had to take a cassette, put the film in there, put the cassette in the machine, take the x-ray, take the cassette, put it through machines, wait about 45 minutes, and the film finally comes out. 45 minutes, you put it up and you look at it. Okay, that's a long time just to find out what's going on with the patient. How about the technology where there's no more paper? All paperwork is gone. We're paperless office. Everything gets scanned into hard drives, into computers, including the X-rays, and I have big screen TVs in all my treatment rooms, and I show them their X-rays and MRIs. Our office uses a scanning system where a patient is issued a card, and there's a barcode on that card. So when they walk into the office, they scan in, no paperwork, no signing, and then they're assigned to a room. They go to the room.
Oh, wow.
They scan in with that scanner, with that barcode. Their chart comes up. So by the time I come in, I'm ready to go. Their chart is up. Their X-ray is up. We're ready to go. Before, you know what it was like. It was clipboards. It was putting him on the back of a
Writing
door.
out
writing out things.
what's wrong, and yeah.
And so now I'm touching buttons on a screen and taking notes and and pulling up X-rays instantly from this monitor, switching it over to the other monitor. So I've always been into the tech stuff of things. I mean, if the technology exists, why not use it?
Yeah.
We used to have closet full of X-ray files, not X-ray files, just patient files. Remember in
alphabetical
Yes.
order.
The
and-
jackets,
exact
yes.
jackets with the little labels on it, and just after a while that gets tremendous. Before you know it, you have to get storage facility. And the same thing, I used to have a storage facility to store boxes and boxes of X-rays over the years, and now it's all gone. It all lives in a hard drive the size of a deck of cards, right? So I am so happy that this technology exists, and that doesn't change the role of chiropractic, but it changes the role of how more efficient we are to do what it is that we do.
Yeah, you can see the patients quicker. They're out of there quicker. Yeah, just like you said, more efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does hands-on care mean to you in today's fast-paced healthcare environment?
So the question is hands-on and fast-paced. Those two words don't seem to mix well with me because it's hard to do something with your hands and be in a fast-paced environment. It's like saying, I want you to bake an apple pie with your hands, but do it fast.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be a good
Yeah,
product.
if you're adjusting my neck, please don't
Exactly.
go too
Oh,
fast.
yes, because the quality, you're
Exactly.
compromising quality.
Exactly. So when it comes to what we do, it's all hands-on. And what I mean by that is slowly we touch the patient, we feel what's happening, we palpate. I don't like using all the technical terms because I hate when doctors do that. So
Explain it like I'm five.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And that's what I say. Explain it to me. So we move the joints, the neck, the back to see ranges of motion. We move the arms, the shoulders. So there's always contact by the practitioner and the patient. And by doing that, you can feel the tonicity of the muscle. You're feeling it hands-on. You feel the resistance of tendons and ligaments. You feel the subtle misalignments of joints. And you can do this by feeling and touching, by hands-on. And ultimately, all that information gets interpreted in the practitioner's brain, and this is, okay, this is the adjustment that's appropriate for what's going on. So I guess that's what I mean by hands-on, because it's hands-on
Physically.
from the moment that you walk in to the moment you leave, it's all hands-on. In our practice, we don't have any machines where we lay people down in a machine, plug them up to machines, and then walk away and come back 20 minutes later. It's just not how we work. So it's always that constant contact with the chiropractor and the patient.
Yeah, I'm sure all the technology and electronic stuff, that's where the fast pace comes in, huh?
That's a good point.
Oh, yes.
That's a good point, because all that stuff makes you now mellow out and slow down to take care of the important stuff.
Right.
Because all the technical stuff, all the paperwork, that stuff is out of the way. And sometimes I think, sometimes I go to other doctors or dentist's office, and I'm impressed too when I see that. But then I see other practitioners that don't have this. I'm thinking, wow, this is 2025. You're going on 2026.
Yes.
You should definitely consider not having all these files in your office
Yes.
or doing something.
Yeah.
Going paperless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And how important is diagnostic imaging, such as X-rays or MRI, when developing an effective chiropractic treatment plan?
Gotcha. Well, X-rays are super important to us. We have an X-ray unit in our office. As a matter of fact, going back to technology, I love updating all my tech, including my X-ray machine. So this is my fourth iteration of X-ray, and we just installed it maybe last month, 2 months ago, and it's great. I mean, we just line the person up, take X-rays, and the good thing about what digital X-rays allow you to do is show the patient exactly what's going on, right? And so what I do is I take the X-rays, and I know how to read X-rays, especially when it comes to the spine, and I'm pretty good. I've done it for a long time. So what I do is a report of findings with the patient. And what I do is, for the neck, let's say the neck, I show them a normal X-ray. I show them a few views of a normal X-ray. This is what the curvature should look like. This is what your disc should look like. This is what the alignment should look on a normal X-ray. And I spend about 5 minutes doing that. It doesn't long, maybe even less. And then, side by side, I put their X-ray up, right? And all of a sudden,
It all makes sense
yes,
as
it
to
all makes
why
sense.
they're hurting.
Wow.
Exactly. Now they're the ones who are pointing out what's wrong with their X-ray. Oh, I can see how my neck is straight and the natural curvature isn't there. Or I can see how this is tilted that way or tilted this way. So I feel that's also one-on-one. Because sometimes practitioners take X-rays and don't take the time to explain it to the patients. And I get it, because practitioners say, well, they don't know what they're seeing. And they're right. So take 5 minutes and show them, explain to them, so when you do show them, it makes sense. And I always think about when the patient goes home, what are they going to say to their spouse or a friend or coworker? I want them to say, hey, by the way, did you go to that chiropractor? Yeah, I did. It was great. They were really quick. They gave me this card. I just scanned in. I just walked in, and they took X-rays, and it was instant. And they put them up on the screen, and then the chiropractor explained to me what's going on, and he put the films side by side, and I know exactly what's going on. And I want them to say that when they go home, as opposed to, hey, how was that visit at the chiropractor? Oh, I don't know. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
He pulled my neck here and there, and I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
So that patient experience is really important to me. I always put myself in their shoes. Like, how would I want to be treated? How would I want to be talked to? How would I explain things? And I think they do have a right to know exactly what's going on. And by the way, when you show them what's up, whether they're, when you put an X-ray up and their spine looks like this, they look at it, they go, oh boy. And I'm like, yes, that's why it's so important that we do something about this, right? And so they visually need to see this. And once they do, it becomes a little bit more impactful and more meaningful of why they're doing that, right? So
Yes.
explanation.
Oh, yes. And you're helping the patient understand what's happening, and you're
Right.
walking them through, these exam
Yes.
results where they're seeing the images. And I think that's so important, especially those extra 5 minutes are very
Yeah.
meaningful, especially how you explained it.
Right.
And they're able to see it, and it's almost like a light bulb moment for
It
them.
is a light bulb
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if patients would see you for like a more preventative routine once a month, that would help like in the aging process, or for their spine to not be so crooked or things like that? Like, should somebody go and see a chiropractor
Oh,
even though there's
absolutely.
nothing wrong?
Absolutely. And think about this, guys. When people come see us, it's usually because they're in pain. Something happened. And that's when they come see us. And we get them out of pain. And once they feel great, it's like, okay, great. Now, how do we keep this going? How do we keep you feeling great? Because you're going to continue to work, you're going to continue to play sports, you're going to continue to do things. So all the dings and dents of life are going to continue to come on. And isn't it a good idea to just come in once or twice a month for maintenance? So yeah, after we get the patient feeling better and they move better and say, like, I can't believe how much better it is. It's been a month worth of treatments and I feel great. And I said, yes, great. So let's keep it going through maintenance adjustments and just once a month. And when you come in once a month, that's a lot easier than coming in when you're in a lot of pain, right?
Yeah, when you're saying the patient is in a lot of pain, is it mainly because of something to do? And I'm sure every case is different, but are you experiencing that the patients maybe are not as mobile as they should be, and perhaps that is the reason why they're feeling pain, or they're sitting all day long? Are these mainly office employees? Are these people who have desk work all day? What kind of demographics are you seeing?
Right. So if you think of the statistics of why people call in sick for work, right? The number one is the sniffles. Sniffles, cold, flu, something like that, right? And number two on the list is neck and back pain. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Those two, those are the top. So I'm involved in an industry that takes care of the top, the number two, basically. You can even put a number one depending on how you see the chart. But most people are working, having lives, doing things, sitting, moving, injuries. So it runs the gamut. So some people have back pain because they've just been sitting too long as a truck driver or a data entry operator, where they're sitting all day long and it's putting too much pressure on their back. Some people have injuries where they get injured in a sports injury, or at home they fall. There's anything you can think of, right? Remember the statistic, back pain, neck pain. And so it's never just one thing. And sometimes they're in a lot of pain, sometimes just a little bit of pain, and sometimes people come in just because they're starting to feel the discomfort and they want to take care of something before it gets worse. And that's the best scenario, right? The worst scenario is when somebody walks in and they can barely feel their legs, or they can't move, or they're in excruciating pain, and you can see the pain on their face. So it's a little bit of everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is that's good to know, especially if they're coming to you and being proactive when they just start feeling some
That's the best,
symptoms.
right? Does it make sense, right? It makes
Yeah.
sense that that's the best time, because you're not waiting until the wheels fall off, like I told
Oh,
you.
yes.
And it's interesting because women are wired to be the mothering, the caretakers, right? Women are usually the glue that holds the family unit together. They have to take care of the kids, the husband, everybody's, and they know that. Women have this pressure of being mother to everything. And so they make sure that they take care of themselves. So they do everything to make sure that they don't break down, because if they break down, they know the family will break down.
Everything
yes.
will fall apart.
That's
100%.
important. Absolutely.
But men, they're not like that. they just keep going until the wheels fall off. So that's kind of different, right? Some men, of course, do that, have a little bit more importance, but sometimes it's just the way we're wired, I guess, right? Men just keep working and working until they can't even move anymore. So that's just what I've noticed over so many decades of practicing.
Well, that's good to know. And how has access to advanced imaging improved patient outcomes in musculoskeletal care?
Advanced imaging for me is having the ability to send somebody for an MRI, because to me that's advanced, right? And for the most part, most people come in with general back pain, dysfunction of the spine, certain body parts, and we take x-rays, we find the subtle misalignments, we work on them, and it gets better. That's it. That's pretty much all there is in time. But every once in a while, somebody comes in where they're just not better. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's just not getting any better, or they get a little bit better and they get worse over time. So now we're like, okay, something else might be going on here, right? And so this is when we say, you know what, let's schedule you for an MRI, just to see what's happening in that neck or that low back, because there might be a herniated disc or a bulging disc or some type of something that we need to look inside. And so the ease of doing that nowadays is pretty awesome. I was just, before I came here, we parked right here, my wife and I. My wife came here with Adriana, and we're literally taking a call. We're on the phone with Julia at Hill Imaging, right here, we're parked right here. And she's helping us schedule an MRI for a gentleman who came in today. He's been an existing patient, but he has severe low back pain. He did something that just aggravated his pain, and we want to get him to get an MRI as soon as possible. So how cool is that we're on the phone here in your parking lot getting advanced imaging so this gentleman can have answers right away, because he's got an appointment with one of his doctors. But my goal is to have that MRI in his hand before he even goes and visit his doctor. It's actually an orthopedic doctor that he scheduled an appointment with, because he's been a patient with us for a long time, and he was out on the field when this happened, and he scheduled that appointment with him. But I've been his chiropractor for 10, 15 years or so. And the last thing he says, I appreciate you, wow. as we hung up, because of the care and time we took to get this advanced imaging. People don't realize that you got to do sometimes more than just an x-ray.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because I feel like a lot of people, when they think chiropractors, they just think like the spine, like neck, back, shoulders, like that. Right. But, we were talking about like musculoskeletal issues. Do chiropractors help with other things besides just the spine?
Oh yeah, we as a chiropractor, I feel like my specialty is the spine, and we're really good at it, right? Anything that has to do with your neck, your back, and we also know about extremities, shoulders, elbows, knees, and we're limited though. So we do limited work on those, because there's more of a specialist for that, right? There's some chiropractors who do specialize in extremities. But I always want to be a master of one instead of a jack of all trades. So our emphasis is on the spine. If somebody comes in and says, hey, can you check my elbow? It feels a little bit off. I did something. And for sure. And I'll adjust it. And the same with the shoulder and the same with the knee. I'll take a look at it. And usually it's just a little adjustment, a little tissue work, and everything's great. But sometimes it's not. And that's when I refer the patient out to a specialist who knows what they're doing. Because if something is wrong with your knee, you want to go to a practitioner who eats, sleeps, and works on knees, right?
Yes.
If you want a shoulder consultation, you want a guy who's just a shoulder specialist. And if something's going on with your back, well, that's a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that makes sense. And what do you wish more patients understood about the role radiology plays in chiropractic treatment?
Architects and engineers, builders, they need blueprints. Right? They need blueprints to see what's going on in the walls, to see what the foundation is, what's inside, so they won't make a mistake if they're pushing a wall down or tearing a wall down or changing something electrical. And we need blueprints too, right? And blueprints for us are imaging, x-rays, of course. There's tons of other CT, anything that looks inside you is what I call it, right?
Yes.
A looking glass that sees inside you.
It's like you need data.
Yeah, you need data. And so just like our architect needs a blueprint, it's a good idea. If you're going to be dealing with something as intricate and as delicate as the spine, maybe you should have a blueprint to see what it is that's going on so you know what you're doing.
That's a fascinating analogy. I've never really thought about it that way, but that's so true. And that can really be with anything that,
Yeah.
you know. I currently have a headache, so it's like, I wish I need to see a picture. I wish I could see inside my head to see why I have a headache. Or, you know, oh, my shoulder hurts. I wish I could see why, like, you want to be a visual person to see, like, why does my foot hurt?
Right.
Why do I have a headache?
Yes.
Why does my back hurt? And imaging actually allows you, in a lot of cases, to see why that's hurting or what's wrong.
And consequently, you need that imaging to explain to the patient, because some people say, why does my head hurt? I want to see inside my head to see what's going on. But it's not coming from your head, it's coming from your neck. Or my fingers are numb and tingling. I can't feel my fingers. Can you do something to my hand? And they're slapping their hand around, but it's not coming from there. It's coming from a misalignment in their neck.
Yeah.
That nerve is going all the way to their finger. So the patients have to know that there's a connection, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't know that until you explain to them, see what's going on here, that's what's causing this. So patients, it's good for patients to know why it is that we need blueprints to look inside of you. Some people don't. Some people say, I just want my neck adjusted. Can you just adjust my neck? And I'm like, no, I don't know what's going on. It's not a good idea, right? I mean, I wouldn't want that. If you get a contractor and he doesn't pull permits or look at blueprints and he says, you know what, I'm going to tear this wall down right here. But aren't there wires or plumbing or anything? That's all right. Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Like, what if there's like a tiny fracture and you're just there pushing on it?
Or something else.
Yeah.
The fractures are kind of evident because they hurt.
Yeah.
But what if there's something else that you just don't know about? A little too much degeneration or anything. You just never know.
Right.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
You need to look at what you're working with. Do you find that a lot of people's pain or issues that are not actually, they don't feel it in their spine? So like you said, a headache or tingling in your fingers, migraines, that a lot of this does stem from something in the spine?
Yeah, well, I always like to remind people that your brain is up here, right? And it runs down your back. Your brain literally runs down your back. And it just happens to be that that's where your spinal cord is. And out of the spinal cord arise all the nerves. And all those nerves go everywhere. And they control everything from your breathing to your stomach to your intestines. So the reason all this stuff here up front works, including muscles, and the reason I'm able to move my fingers is because a message is being sent from my brain down my spinal cord to these things for them to all work. Doesn't matter what it is. So if you ever look at an anatomy and neurology images, there's the organ and then the nerve connecting to the organ telling it what to do, right? And so I have these charts as well, because people have to understand that what might be happening here is a result of what's going on here. So I also make that connection to them. So the nervous system controls everything. So sometimes people don't realize that they might be having a little bit of shallow breathing and they can't take deep breaths, probably because of subtle misalignment in their mid-back that's just not allowing their chest to expand or the ribs to move or that nerve to send the right messages. And after a nice gentle adjustment to that mid-back, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can breathe better. I thought something was going on with my lungs or my chest, right? Or there's pain shooting down their leg and their leg is numb and their feet are tingling and they're banging on their leg, and it is not. It's coming from the nerve from the low back. So it is important to make sure that people understand that it all is up here and it all runs down your back. And it just happens to be that look, if your spinal cord ran down your arm, then I'd be working on your arm.
Yeah.
Right, but it just happens to be encased in all the bones in your spine, and all these bones, there's a bunch of them. There's 24 bones, and they misalign. And how do they misalign? Throughout the dings and dents of life is what I call it, right? Football injury in high school, a cheer injury when you fell off that bicycle.
The surfing accident.
Surfing accident,
Oh, yes.
throw that in there too. A couple of car accidents. Last week you helped your friend move. You've been sitting too long. You slept wrong on your camping trip. Just put all this together, and umpteen years later, this is what you get, right? So that's in the basics of it. That's it. Or you're at a party and somebody pushes you and you fall really hard and slip and hurt yourself. There's that
Injury,
too, right? There's
yeah.
that injury. There's that instant injury. But It's just the everyday dings and dents of life, and then you don't take care of them, and they start piling up, and one day your body just says, you know what, that's enough.
Yes.
I need some help.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, stop doing that.
Stop doing that
Yes.
and go get some help. And that's the voice telling you. And you know, we're good at ignoring the voices. Oh, maybe it'll go away tomorrow, and maybe it'll go away, but what if it doesn't? You
Yeah.
know? And what if all the medications you're taking, it's just temporarily alleviating the pain, and when that stuff wears off, you're back at square one. So ultimately, you have to take care of these things because they'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is a myth that people have about chiropractors that you would like to clear up?
I think the greatest myth is that we're bone doctors, and we're not. We're nerve doctors. We're spine doctors. It just happens to be, like I said, that the bones of your spine are in your back, and the nerves come out of there. Another myth is that we crack things, right? And people think that the biggest myth in chiropractic is that cracking sound when you pop your knuckles. They think that's cracking. They think that's bones cracking. But nothing could be further from the truth. You never want to hear a bone crack ever in your life. So that sound, whether it's a knuckle or your joints or your knee, every time you move or have a neck adjustment or a spinal adjustment and you hear that popping sound, it's not bones cracking at all. It's the release, it's the sound of a release of a nitrogen gas escaping the joint. And it makes that popping sound,
Oh.
right?
Oh.
Have you ever pop bubble wrap? You ever take bubble wrap?
Oh, yes,
Pop
that's like
No.
my stress
Right?
relief.
Okay, so I don't know if you know, but if you take that and close your eyes, it sounds like an adjustment. It sounds like pop, 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 right?
That's
If you
so
think
true,
about it,
yeah,
right? If you
yeah.
think about it. Because that's exactly what's happening. In that little gas bubble, you are popping the bubble and the gas is releasing it. It's making that popping sound. So picture the same thing along the spine. You move the joint slightly, you remove that pressure off the joint. Now, that nitrogen gas escapes. When that nitrogen gas escapes from the joints become more movable. So we're able to move them and kind of place them where they need to be and take pressure and stress off of them. And then in 5 minutes, that gas will build right back into the joint. And that's what that popping sound
So when
is.
someone's like cracking their, like they'll do the twisting in their chair,
Yep.
they're not cracking
They're
their
not cracking
bones.
anything, they're just hearing the gas escape. Bubble wrap.
It's like
And that's
releasing
the-
the pressure.
That's
Releasing
the-
pressure.
that's the
And-
sense of relief that we
by
feel.
the way, it is a sense of relief because when you do that, it pops and you feel that sense of relief because the gas escapes the joint. The joints now become a little less pressure, but that's all you've done. You haven't aligned it. You haven't kind of guided it back in place. You just relieve pressure, so it feels great, right? If your spine is in line and everything's moving and functioning fine, you don't have that urge to do that. You have that urge to do that because something's wrong, and you're trying to do everything.
Oh, but I'm a mess.
That's my point.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and you see people going up against a door jamb and pushing themselves and taking the remote control and banging their neck because, again, something's wrong, something's out of alignment, and your body's just begging for something to get done to it. But you know what? To get it done right.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And like you said, you could have some sort of underlying issue and then you're here twisting in your
Yes,
chair
yes,
and you're
yes,
just
yes.
doing more damage.
Yes.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
My husband can do,
Some people
I can't
can.
do that.
Again, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But that's all that's happening. But we do it. We're kind of doing the same thing, but we're also guiding the joint to where it's supposed to be and concerning ourselves with the alignment of the joints.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I
it
kind of
sure
knew
is.
about the popping sound,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I didn't know the extent of it like
so
that.
popping is easy. The alignment is a little bit
Where
more
you need a
difficult. Yes.
professional.
Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of professions, is there some advice you would give to somebody who is seeking a career as a chiropractor?
Yes, the advice. I always get this question. There's always so many different ways to answer.
Well, because
it.
the way you came to it was not, you don't want to give someone advice like, go get hurt and then
Yes.
go see a chiropractor.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So, when it comes to being a chiropractor, you have to really enjoy being with people and being close to people. And so, if your attitude and your soul is about being in contact and communication with other people and touching and moving and really getting to the bottom underlying problem with the hands-on, right? Like we talked about, then definitely this is something you want to pursue. But sometimes I see people who are a little bit analytical and I don't see that spark of they feel like more of a clinician. Then I say, maybe consider something where that contact with a patient isn't your thing. And sometimes, honestly, I do steer people away from the profession if I don't feel or I don't see that spark, because otherwise you're going to go through school, you're going to realize, you know what, this is a lot of handsy, touchy feeling, people moving. Maybe I don't like that. So figure if that's something, if that's who you are before you even get started with that. Because some people just want to go to become a chiropractor because they want to be called a doctor, or because they want to have an office, or whatever it is. Just what are your real intentions? Why is it that you want to become a chiropractor? And as long as your intentions are sincere, then for sure. And I'll make calls myself to get you to go for a tour to one of the chiropractic colleges.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it helps if you're an empathetic person, because then you might have somebody like Mary come in who, you know, you might think, well, I can't fix it. I can't fix her.
Right.
But you want to be able to help.
Right. And by the way, one of those doctors that she went to before was a chiropractor. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, he sent her away as well. But then again, I get it, right?
Yeah.
I get it. I put myself in his place, and he's seeing those same X-rays, and he's just saying no as well. But I just happened to just take the fork in the road and go the other way.
And you just listened to her. You
Yeah,
know,
that
you were
was
just
it.
having a conversation, and that probably helped her too.
Yes.
Yeah, that meant a lot to her,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
for her daughter to call you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing. What was it like being known as the chiropractor to the stars, and how did that experience influence your approach to care?
Wow, that was a I don't know how to put it in words. I guess I can give you my origin stories on that too, because it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You don't know how these things turn out until you just say yes to an opportunity. And so I was, again, in my practice, and I had a patient, his name was Mark, and he was a cameraman for the television and motion picture industry. And carrying this camera, right, around for hours and hours. He had all kinds of neck, back, shoulder issues. And his whole family was coming to me, wife, kids, everybody. Great guy. And he was my patient for maybe a month or two, and all of a sudden he wasn't showing up. And back then we had to do recalls. Remember when you get on the phone and you call people, hey, where you been? What's going on? We haven't seen you in a while. Now it's all automated. Just text gets sent out, right?
Yeah.
You're due for your appointment.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So we actually had a call, and I called Mark and said, Mark, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? I'm just checking up on you. What's on? And he says, well, you know, I'm a cameraman, and I'm on a new shoot. I'm locked into this sound stage, and we're in here for sometimes 12 hours a day. I can't get out.
They're holding me hostage.
Yeah, they're holding me hostage. I can't get out. We're
Wow.
filming constantly, and we just go to eat, and then we come back, and sometimes they even bring food to eat. But my neck is killing. My neck and back is killing me. And he said, boy, I wish you could come over here.
Wow.
Right? And so that's when the light went off in my head. And I said, well, I'll go, Mark. I said yes to the opportunity. Talk to whoever you have to talk to in human resources or whatever. And I'll bring my table and all my portable stuff with me, and I'll show up. And by the way, while I'm there, if anybody else is interested in getting adjusted, tell them I'm there. And of course, you know, this is a sound set where there's construction workers, grips, sound guys, the talent, stunt guys, construction workers. It's a city in there, right? For one production. And to make a really long story short, that's how it all started. And then from that production led me to the next one, then this one, and then backstages and functions and events and award shows backstage. So just saying yes to somebody saying, hey, I wish you could be here, right? And so, yeah, to make a long story short, that's how it all started.
Were there people that were apprehensive and kind of like not a chiropractor, and then saw you and you turned them into believers?
Yes. Well, I think that's always the case when, especially on a set, right? When people are just, look, these people are there and they're literally locked in there. And so when they order the In-N-Out truck, the In-N-Out truck comes and they set up shop on lot there, right? And they're happy that the In-N-Out truck is, because they're all eating. Now you got to go right back to eat. And so the chiropractor shows up with his table.
They're like, yes.
Yeah.
They're like, absolutely, I'm next.
Yeah.
So there's no apprehension. There's like, oh yeah, are you going to be here next week? Or are you going to be here tomorrow? So those are the questions that I received when I was going over there. So my point is, these people are hardworking, and they really need this type of. And trust me, I'm the chiropractor. There's somebody else that is the person who does the stretching, and then like there's the catering. There's all these people, but because I was always willing to say yes to these opportunities, and then the next production started. And remember, I was working on the cameraman here and the construction guy here and the sound guy here. Now they go to different productions months later, and now they're calling me to work on their productions, and exponentially that's just how it worked. And then backstage at events, at award shows and things like that. So that's how it grew. And yeah, you know, when you have that celebrity power behind you, people say, well, if that person's getting adjusted, they're well known, and if they're getting adjusted, then chiropractic must be good enough for me.
I feel like once you've seen a chiropractor once, there's no going back.
Right, absolutely. And
Yes.
and you know what? There's fear in what you don't know, right? That's
Yeah.
the saying. You fear something you don't know. But as soon as you get adjusted and you realize how simple and gentle it is, you're like, wow, this is easy. I should have done this a long time ago. I'm like, yeah.
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 And I think also that you going there and
Yeah.
in person and then seeing you set up your table,
Yes.
and then the person that you worked on went and told others. But not only that, but adding also how personable you are, and the fact that you care about the person, that you are not just treating them for whatever back issue or an alignment that they need. You're doing more than that. I think
Right.
you're listening to the person too.
Right.
And you're trying to offer, that personable side too of what you do. So I think that's wonderful. And I think that's probably another reason why so many people, the word of mouth got around so fast, and so many people wanted to see you too. It
Yeah.
sounds like that.
In an industry where it's needed, right? And these people they can't. Their job is everything. It's hard for them to schedule an appointment to go see a therapist or go see a doctor's visit. Sometimes they got to wait weeks in advance, and now they got to take time off from work. But when somebody can go see them, they're so appreciative.
So convenient.
It's like a house call.
Kind of,
That's all.
yeah.
That's
it is.
wonderful.
It is. And I did do house calls as well, because, as this grew over the years, I started going to their homes and adjusting them there as well. And they came to my office, and I sent them to imaging centers so I can get x-rays to see what's going on. So we did a lot. And, it's hard. It was hard because I'm juggling my practice in Covina, and at the same time, I'm going to Hollywood, Burbank, to these studios, and working there, and then coming right back. So my schedule was just nonstop every day. But when you're young, it's not that big of a deal.
Yes, a different energy level, I think, too.
100%, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what lessons from working on television and film productions still apply to your clinic today?
I call it the power of celebrityism, right? Where working with the talent and people involved in the television and motion picture industry, they call them talent, the stars, the celebrities, right? That's the technical word. And so they're people too. And they get hurt and say wake up with neck pain and back pain, and they need it too, no matter how amazing they are, no how wealthy or how many movies they've been in. And they're just regular people, and instead of asking for an autograph, they're asking me for an adjustment. So I remember one time in the early 2000s, I think it was 2003, I went to an event. I was a backstage chiropractor at an event called Women Rock, and it was an award show where they were giving awards to women who were in the country and rock genre, right? And they were getting awards. And I'll tell you a little secret about these award shows, okay? These award shows, whether it's Grammys, Emmys, HBO Comedy Special, it doesn't matter, right? These people are getting their awards on stage. These talent, and here's your award and whatever they say. But at all these events, backstage, somewhere in that venue, there's something called a talent gift lounge, okay? And in this lounge, there are high-end vendors, like a watch vendor, high-end watch vendor, sunglasses, purses, hotel vacations, cosmetic dentistry. Anything you can think of that's high-end, they're in this room. And they're set up like vendors in this room.
Interesting.
It's called a talent lounge.
Oh.
And so we all get there, and we're all setting up. I'm there too. I'm there, but I don't have an expensive bag or watches to give away. I just have my table and my sign, and I say I'm Dr. Mata. I provide chiropractic care to the television and motion picture productions. If you ever need a chiropractor on your set, wherever you are, I'm there for you. That's what I did, and I was at the back of the room. And so at this event, everybody is set up, all our vendors, and we get to know each other because we're all setting up our booths, right? And we're waiting for the talent to come in, because the talent comes in and they're escorted from station to station, and they're giving a little presentation. By the way, this is the celebrity, the talent, and we'd like to gift you this Submariner or whatever it is, or Ray-Ban glasses this month, this year's edition. And so they just go from station to station and get all the stuff, and they take a picture with it, right?
Wow.
They take a picture with it in hopes that the picture with the product enhances the product, and what better marketing is when the celebrity's wearing whatever you're promoting. By the way, they're getting all this for free.
My
Wow,
gosh.
that's like a candy shop.
And so they go to the next one, and now you have a full 2-week vacation paid to Bali, and you're going to stay at this hotel. And this other, he's a cosmetic dentistry, and he veneers for free, whatever it is, right? And literally they have the little shopping cart, a cool little shopping cart, and all these gifts go in the shopping cart. And you're just making your way through this whole talent line. And you're getting all this stuff for free, okay? High-end
Amazing.
items. So
The people that can afford it get it for free. That's not fair.
Exactly. So that's the dynamic of a talent lounge, right? So the first person that comes in is Dolly Parton.
Oh.
And the doors open, and everybody's ready at their booth, and they're like, ready, we're going to impress Dolly Parton. And Dolly Parton, by the way, Dolly Parton is not a celebrity. She's an icon.
Yeah,
She's not a star. She's an American icon.
She is an icon.
And so she makes a beeline for me, and everybody's watching her. And like, she's supposed to go this way. And she goes right to me. And she sits down at my table, and I said, don't you want to go to all your things and get all your things and then come to me? And she said, oh no, darling, I've been on an 8-hour flight, and what I need right now is a neck adjustment, right?
Wow.
And so there she was, and I adjusted her, and it went great. And then 3 days later, a patient comes in with a photo, a huge photo in one of the tabloids. It's Dolly Parton, and I'm adjusting Dolly Parton.
Wow.
And on the bottom it says, "What do you give a gal who has everything? For Dolly Parton, make it a backstage chiropractor." Right?
Oh.
So the lesson there is, all of a sudden, I became the most valuable thing in that room, and I don't have anything. And she was right, because she could get any of these things any time of the year, of the day. But what she needed right there was that adjustment to make her feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And she did eventually come back and go through everything. But all of a sudden, I became the star in that talent lounge, right?
Wow.
And guess who wanted to get adjusted as well throughout that whole, everybody in the
All the talent, I'm
That's
sure.
so
That's
cool.
amazing.
So that's one of the stories. And again, I didn't even know what happened. A patient brought the picture, the photograph, and they showed it to me. And that was pretty.
Do you have it
cool.
in your office?
I have it. It's been a while, so I don't
I'd have it like wallpaper.
I used to have it on a slideshow, but after a while, time goes by, but it was pretty. And by the way, that's her. There's other amazing people, and she was so grateful. All these people are so grateful, and I was really appreciative of that, and to meet somebody like her, and I've ever since then I've seen her at other events, but and even though it was a long time ago, you'll never forget it.
Oh, no.
And the impression that they, and all the value that they gave you, right? And that's the celebrityism. It's a word that I made up. is that if it's good enough for me, it must be. If it's good enough for Dolly Parton, it must be good enough for me, right?
Mm.
So if you're a person and you aren't sure about chiropractic, everybody's told you to go see a chiropractor, and let's say you're not sure, and you're thinking about it, and all of a sudden you go to the grocery store and you open up a tabloid and you see Dolly Parton getting adjusted, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, well, if Dolly Parton's getting adjusted and it's good enough for her, maybe I should go look for a chiropractor as well. So it gives that validation, at least celebrities do. But it doesn't help me out, it helps chiropractic out, because her getting adjusted is saying chiropractic is great, do it. And yeah, so I rely on good publicity like that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. What excites you the most about the future of chiropractic care and integrative health care?
I think what excites me the most is the ability for people to have all this information at their fingertips. There's different types of chiropractors, and you can research them all online. Or you can just ask AI, and help you figure things out. So AI and Google searches aren't a good idea to diagnose what's going on with you. Worst idea ever, right?
Right.
But it can provide you with the information so you can decide on where you want to go and what you want to do. The future, I see that technology, AI, social media, these are platforms where people can instantly tap into and learn more about what chiropractic is, what physical therapy is, what acupuncture is, what medical doctors do, what orthopedic doctors do. So when they do figure out what it is, at least they have an idea where they're at. Before, people went blind. They had no idea. You just go to your medical doctor or your chiropractor, and that's the only person that you knew that knew what they were doing. But there's more. There's more avenues. There's more choices. What's the best choice for you? And nowadays, there's all this information that you can figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they say do your own research, you literally can do your own research.
You can
Not
do
to
your
the
own research.
extent of a professional who's gone to school for it, but
right.
Yes.
there is a lot of information at our fingertips.
It is. And so when you do go and the doctor does mention something, you're like, oh, I remember reading that.
I read about that.
Yeah, but as before, that just wasn't the case. So,
Yeah.
And it's just going to get better because, AI is in its infancy and social media is everywhere.
It's kind of
And
scary.
It is. It is kind of scary, right? It's very scary. But hopefully things will get figured out somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
And the machines won't take over.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, this has been really insightful.
Thank
I
you.
feel
Has
like
been.
I feel like I learned a lot, and
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, offline, I worked at a chiropractor for 5 years, and so I knew a little bit about it, but you took it to a whole new level, and I hope people will go and seek out chiropractic treatment if they need it, and not be so scared of it, and know that they're not cracking your bones.
Yes, they're not cracking your bones, and it's all about reading reviews and finding somebody that you connect with, but just like anything, you want your hairdresser to be somebody that you connect with.
Yeah.
And if you get a bad haircut, you're not going to go there anymore. You're going
Right.
to find somebody that you click with or you jive with.
Yeah.
So it's really important. And your chiropractor, Dr. Dinkle, right? He was in Glendora.
In Glendora, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my community. I know that. What's interesting is that when I first started out, like I said, I was young. And in my Covina area, it's a small town, Covina, Glendora. I remember I was the youngest kid there. I was the youngest chiropractor in
The
town.
new kid on the block.
Kid on the block. And I used to get together with the chiropractors down the street this way and the chiropractors down the street this way. And we had this cool little community, and we would meet at their offices and talk about technique and do things practice on each other and just talk shop, right? And now I'm the old guy. I'm the guy in Covina who's been there the longest.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see that, like, I remember being with my peers, and they were older gentlemen, right? And over time, of course, they've gone away, they've passed and retired. And now it's like, wow,
You're the new mentor.
I'm the new
You're
old guy.
The new old guy.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to seek you out, where can they find you?
Again, Covina Chiropractic, easy to find. Dr. Mata on Instagram. Google search will find us right away.
Yeah.
And we have a team of chiropractors. We have 2 chiropractors, Dr. Chris, Dr. Hernandez, a great office staff, including my wife. She's the office manager. We have a full team, so you're in good hands no matter who you see.
And we'll put your information in the description, so if somebody wants to look for you, we'll make it easy.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your attention.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning into the Healthy Image podcast, where we talk all things health and wellness. Please like and subscribe or share with a friend who might find this helpful. And as always, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay healthy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.